Yeah. Peace, peace. Let me know you guys can hear me. What's up? What's up? Make sure my Zoom is right. Looks good. Peace to everybody in the chat room. Let me know when you guys can hear me okay. What's up, Ruby? What's up, Starcatcher? What's up, Naturally Clever in the Netherlands? Peace, Respect the Truth. Peace, Montino. What's good? What's good? How y'all doing? Today is Wednesday, June 15th, 2022. I'm going to give everybody a minute to come in, and let me just go on Instagram and Facebook real quick and let everybody know I'm live. I'm not going to be on here too long. I just wanted to come in and check in with you guys real quick. Okay. Always interesting to see myself on camera. I never gets yeah. All right, let's see. Done, save, and let me copy the link. And let me go to Instagram and share this in my story. Come through, I'm live. Oh my God. Okay. 1 second. Okay, so that's Instagram. Now let me go to Facebook and go to my profile page. Where is it? Okay, and let me just post this real quick. Publish now. Okay. What's up, y'all? Yes, I am live in the flesh. What's up, Carl, for President Anthony? What's up? What does that say? Pharaoh? Pharaoh. Okay. How y'all doing? For some reason, my video, when I on it, it looks cloudy, or the picture is not coming through as clear on YouTube, but it's fine. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all feeling in Babylon? Peace, Brandon was good. Western Goddess was good, sis. King Hazy, what's up? What's up? How y'all doing? This is a totally impromptu video. I had no intentions of going live today, but I got a little bit of time to kill over the next 45 minutes. And I told myself I want to at least go live on YouTube or one of these social media pages once a month to check in with you guys, see what the vibe is, you know, and just without having to pre-plan, you know, my topics, which I haven't really been doing that online. I've been doing that in my membership group, but I I don't really sit down and do videos unless I actually have a topic or a subject that I want to talk about. You know, I'm weird like that. Um, and I don't really have anything specific I want to talk about right now, aside from sloppy thinking, which is a little conversation I was having with myself yesterday. I'm going to share that with you guys in just a second. Peace to the God, Ishmael Bey. What's good, King? How you doing? Yeah, King Hazy said it was hot in Babylon today. Yeah, that's because they playing with our weather. There's no question about that. Peace, Gloria. How you doing? Peace, Dana Hill was good. Ebony Merritt, what's up? What's up? So yeah, I just wanted to come and shoot the shit with you guys for a second. To be honest. So a couple of quick updates real quick. I changed the date on my LA event. I went and did the walkthrough at the rooftop venue, and it made me have to change some things up as far as logistics. So the new date, which is actually a better date, is August the 20th, 2022, 8/20/2022, which is actually 88 numerically, which I'll be 44 this year. So I have this whole thing going on with, you know, I feel like my math is right and exact this year. And this is going to be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful year for me, in spite of all of the insanity happening and chaos happening in the world. So yeah, LA, August 20th, 2022, I changed the type of tickets I'm offering. I'm not going to do dinner. I'm just going to do a live meet and greet. And then I'm going to have a town hall sort of presentation where I do my thing, but then we have an open forum conversation, because I think that that's very necessary in this time. So if you're looking for, you know, to be around some righteous, positive, uplifting energy, and to talk about the things that people aren't talking about, but not from a fear-based consciousness, but from a righteous, godly consciousness, then that's going to be the intention. I finally have my subject right too. And I think this is why I haven't been able to like nail it. Because for me, until I come up with my topic or my subject, I'm kind of gray. But once I come up with my subject, then it's like, okay, boom, everything becomes clear to me. So my topic or my subject is Illuminati 2.0, a divine new world order. And that is just, it's so representative of so many things. I know you guys know, or those of you guys who have been following me, that I love Pac. Tupac has, you know, before he died, he was definitely number one in my book. Obviously, I've grown and, you know, my music, new music has come out that I fall in love with. So I wouldn't necessarily say Pac is my number one now. It's probably Nas, even though I have some issues with him right now. But just as far as the music is concerned, Pac is, and as far as his spirit and his energy and his impact, Pac will always be the greatest in my mind. But Illuminati, he talked about in his last album, he was referencing killing the Illuminati, not like no physical war or anything, but like that. But like, yeah, we taking our music back, we taking our minds back, you know, and we shifting the nature of the conversation, so to speak. And that's what Illuminati was about, killing the Illuminati, not, you know, in deed, but just in, you know, in shifting the narrative and in taking our planet back, right? And so Illuminati 2.0, a divine new world order, that is going to be my subject for my LA event. I am also working on an event, Atlanta and New York, Brooklyn. Atlanta, September 3rd is the tentative date I'm playing with right now. And then New York, Brooklyn, Nicholas Bookstore, September the 10th. Once I confirm those dates, I'll obviously be letting you guys know, but that's the plan as of right now. And because things are so crazy and chaotic in the world, I honestly don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not planning a lot of dates. I'm only doing events that, these are my events. Nobody's bringing me out. I'm putting these events together. So I'm only doing them at venues where I have a connection and, you know, strong relationships with the people. So I'm not going to be doing like a tour or anything. I'm just going to go to a couple of places where I know the vibe is going to be complimentary of who I am and what I do. So no, I have never met Tupac. No, that's a flat no. So LA, August 20th, 2022, Atlanta, September 3rd. Tentatively, I haven't confirmed that date, but that's what we're working on. And then New York, September 10th. Illuminati 2.0, A Divine New World Order. And I just finished filming this morning my Kingdom Within presentation. It ended up being 2.5 hours, and that's just part one. I'm gonna upload it, and then I'm gonna shrink it. It's a whole process. You know, once I finish filming the video, that's only the first part. Then I have to download it, and then I have to shrink it so that it is a certain size to put it on my website. And, you know, it takes some time to get all of that done. But that Kingdom Within part one is going to be up in my group membership page tomorrow for sure, but I'm going to start downloading it today. So all of the members can look out for that. Group members can look out for that. In this part one, I really go in on the face masks, the Q-tips they've been sticking in you guys' nose and pulling your DNA, and also depositing some things into your system. I go into my hypothesis of, you know, this whole big ass mind manipulation, global takeover, demonic, satanic agenda, because that's exactly what it is. And I give my hypothesis about all of it. I've been researching heavy for the last, since this started, but it didn't start when it started, but my research didn't start when it started. But for the last 2.5 years, I have been researching all of this insanely. So I have a lot of content and a lot of information. The whole presentation, I have 100 and I think it was 15 slides, and then I have like 27 videos. So I'm breaking it down piece by piece, and trying to make it as cohesive and simple as possible. There is a lot of, you know, very scary, crazy things happening on our planet right now. But we can't run from it. You know what I mean? And the devil and Satan is operating at a very high capacity right now. So what I do is I take information, I take, you know, I research, I pull different pieces of things from all different places, and then I synthesize it. And then I give it my, you know, personal vantage point, and then I try to go into the metaphysics or spiritual aspect of it. So that's why I'm not scared. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not fearful, because I understand the time that we're living in. I understand history, and I understand the reason that all of this is taking place on a bigger level. You know, Elijah Muhammad said that Allah, our idea of God or supreme consciousness or divine energy, when the original, you know, physical manifestation started to take place, when these physical beings started to, you know, transmute themselves into physical reality, that Allah studied itself and found a wobble in its nature. And so the wobble in the nature, whether you know, believe that, or whether you have a different vantage point, whether it's Christianity or, you know, Orthodox Islam, basically, this has been a process of trial and error, of expansion and evolution that we are taking part of right now. And all of it's coming to a head, so to speak, during our lifetime. So yeah, the Kingdom Within part one, I talk about the tests, I talk about the masks, I talk about the stuff that's in the tests and the masks. And this is where discernment comes in, right? Because, you know, you have the Jim Jones juice option, and then you have the mask option. Peace. I appreciate you, brother. Much love. Always. You know, I got much love for you, Ishmael. What was I saying? So the masks, the tests, the hospital protocols where they have been killing people. They have killed some people that I know personally. I know somebody that recently passed that was in my son's family that took 3 shots of the Jim Jones juice and has unfortunately transitioned. There's a lot going on. And then the epicenters where all of this started off, right? Wuhan, New York, Italy. This has been a very strategic, planned out agenda, not from 2020, but we're talking 100 years ago. So the World Economic Forum, Agenda 21, MK Ultra, how they have basically probably 95% of the world under a mass hypnosis right now, to the point where even if if you had like the truth, if my phone was the truth, then it was, no, the phone doesn't exist. And I said, yes, it does. Here it is. It's right here. Look. And it's like, no, that's not the phone. That's da 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 da. You know what I mean? Like, it's very hard to get people to embrace and even open their eyes to truth right now. So the wickedness and the technology that these people are using right now, is me knowing all of this has been very stressful. Like, you know what I mean? This is a very, 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 very heavy burden to carry, particularly when you're trying to get people to listen and to pay attention and to, you know what I mean, be serious and to get focused. And everybody wants to talk about everything but what's really happening, the elephant in the room, so to speak. And our people in our culture are great at that. I think somebody just asked me if Jada Pinkett Smith is still in love with Tupac. That's kind of, I think Jada Pinkett Smith needs to be focusing on herself. You know what I mean? And yeah, her and her family are definitely being utilized and used, as well as 95% of Black celebrities, to keep people distracted and to keep people entertained so they're not paying attention to what's going on. That includes the NBA finals. That includes the Super Bowl earlier this year. It's no coincidence that they, signed Jay-Z on to do the halftime, Super Bowl performances. They're using and harnessing Black energy, particularly our celebrities and our athletes, to keep people focused in an entertainment capacity in order to keep people from paying attention to what's actually happening in the world. So Jada Pinkett Smith is like number 976,422 on my list of things that are relevant or important. And I know you just asking because you want to know, so I don't want you to take what I'm saying personal, but she's being used as most of them are being used, except maybe Kyrie Irving, and a handful of others who are very quiet or, subtly talking about this. But the majority of people, our entertainment class and, those upper echelon, fame, elite, whatever you want to call it, are being used to distract people from what's going on. I got a notification on my phone just a second ago about the Jim Jones juice and the, let me see if I can bring it up. The Jim Jones juice for 6 months to 11 years old. So yesterday and today, June 14th and June 15th, they are introducing the evidence, even though there is no evidence, and all of the evidence that they have shows that this stuff is very dangerous and deadly. If it's dangerous and deadly for grown-ups, and it is, a lot of people are dying, then you know that it's going to have a even more grave and detrimental impact on babies. So babies have like damn near 0% of catching the poison formerly known as CVD-19. Why would they be getting shots? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I can't even believe that we're like living in this reality where people don't care. You know what I'm saying? I don't. So let me get to my subject, right? Do I have a subject today? Yes, I have a subject today. Let me get to it. Sloppy thinking. And I'm gonna tell you guys why this particular subject came to me. I was thinking about this yesterday, because normally when when you say sloppy thinking, you'll think, oh, I need to control how negative my thoughts are. I'm thinking about this the wrong way, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, that's true. But I was thinking to myself yesterday, this is why I have been off of social media. And this is why, I just hope you guys know, I hope everybody that is watching me knows one of the tentacles of this agenda is going to be a cyber attack. And they've already shown you that they're censoring. I think they're outside doing landscaping. I hope that sound doesn't distract you guys from hearing what I'm saying. But under 5 now too. Yeah, did I say, I should have said 6 months to 5 years old. That's what I meant to say. Sometimes when I'm talking, I don't really, I miss the point that I want to make. But hold on, turn this down. Had to close my window. What was I saying? So sloppy thinking. I have been intentionally off social media, and I've been building my personal platform because I know that part of the agenda is to do a cyber attack and to cut off all of the social media platforms, particularly to people like myself that are considered controversial. So I'm preparing myself for that because I know that is their intention. I'm also, very cognizant about the type of energy and the type of focus or lack thereof on social media. So sloppy thinking. Every time I go on social media now, it messes with my frequency because my tolerance for ignorance is very low right now. You know what I'm saying? And not just ignorance, even the, sort of neutrality of a lot of the spiritual pages where there's all love and light, high vibration, and they're not talking about anything that's actually going on in the world. Like spirituality is not only about love and light, like confronting your darkness is the real spiritual work. And humanity has become so complacent and so undisciplined when it comes to confronting the darkness within, that the darkness within has catapulted itself. We're talking about the mental, emotional, and spiritual realm has catapulted itself into the physical realm now. And these are the people that are in the positions of power. You know what I'm saying? So like, I keep hearing a lot in my research, and I get into this in the Kingdom Within, right? We start talking about transhumanism, and a lot of people who are the doctors and the scientists are talking about this technology being otherworldly, right? Like there is, some otherworldly beings or, aliens, right? Or reptilian races that are behind all of this. And the technology, as I'm going to show you guys in the Kingdom Within series, they're saying that some of the synthetic, the silica, as well as the technology, is cultivated and is operated through artificial intelligence, right? Which there's a very strong argument for that. But what I don't hear, and this is conspiracy theories, this is the UFO, people who've been studying aliens and UFO forever, they're always talking about the darker natured beings, which to me is a sign, or not a sign, but that's something to be considered. right? And the reason in my, meditation that the focus is on the darker, lower natured beings is because that's where most people are, in the lower frequencies. And so through eons of time, whether we say, obviously for the last 600 years, America in particular, and all Western nations have been feeding this beast, feeding this evil, low vibrational frequency, right? That has now gotten to a pinnacle or a plateau, so to speak, of power and of intention, right? So this is why there's so much emphasis on them. I've never seen an expose, about the beings of light. I'm not talking about the Palladians, because that's a whole nother conversation. Are there a race of European, blonde hair, blue eyed, beings that have this righteous, loving intention for the world? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But I'm saying all of that to say, and I don't want to make this about race, because, that's a third dimensional reality concept that's on its way out. And a lot of Black people are going to struggle with that, because they're not going to know how to live in a world where they don't have racism and white supremacy to fight, right? Don't know how to live in peace. Don't know how to create peace. And we have proven through time that we still don't know how to create peace, because we don't have peace anywhere. And I'm talking about the original indigenous African, whatever you identify, melanated, we have not created peace anywhere on our planet. Now we could say, well, the white man did this and the white man did that. Yeah, we know. I've written books about it. But we're beyond the point of talking about what the white man has or hasn't done. And we are in the space, I'm in the space now of building and creating a new world, which is why this topic is sloppy thinking. So let me get to my point. When I go on social media, I get irritated, right? When I see people driving in their cars with face masks on by themselves, I get irritated. When I see people in sunny, beautiful Southern California, and it's 85 degrees outside, and there's nobody within 20 feet, I get irritated. And so my, sloppy thinking, my analysis of my sloppy thinking is not just about observing, what am I thinking right now? How are my thoughts affecting me? Yes, all that goes without saying, but my sloppy thinking right now is about judgment and projection. You know what I mean? Because why, when I talk about the non-playable characters, so to speak, like, what's the point of judging a non-playable character? It's a waste of time. Oh, the exercising with a face mask on is pure insanity. I said this last year. I said this in 2020. You guys that are committed to those damn useless face masks are going to be dealing with health issues moving forward if you're not working towards, restoring your lungs and restoring, your blood purifying system, which is what oxygen does. And I don't even sometimes I have to even scratch my head when I hear myself saying certain things. It's like, am I really saying this? Do I really need to tell people how unhealthy that is? You can't feel how you feel when you breathe with it on versus, but anyway, I've already said all of that. I did a whole Science as a Weapon series. It's free on my website. I talked about all of this. It's 3 videos, but I just, the non-playable character thing. And this is where the shrewd aspect of God, or the shrewd aspect of the mind, or humanity, or consciousness, or spirituality, whatever you want to call it. Shrewd meaning having discernment. I don't mean shrewd like Jew shrewd. We represent righteousness over here. I'm talking about discernment and the power, the internal power and internal knowing to be able to walk away from something or to stand on your own personal convictions when you know that there are things happening in the world that are not in your best interest. Non-playable character, yes. That's exactly right. So my thing is, I'm trying to work on my judgment and my projections. Because again, what's the point of judging a non-playable character? You know what I mean? It's a waste of time. And then also, you know, the influencers, the conspiracy theorists, the people who are, you know, I have followed a bunch of pages on Telegram. And like I said, I've been researching this stuff nonstop for the last 2.5 years. And specifically, when you watch The Kingdom Within Part 1, when you watch the whole series, you're probably going to think I'm a mad woman. The amount of content and energy that I process is crazy to me. But influencers, conspiracy theorists, people who make content and put them up to inform people about what's going on, this wicked, evil agenda, are speaking about their intentions as if they've already come true. And I never do that. Like the phrase, you know, you will own nothing and be happy, right? That's a part of this, you know, the matrix that the devil is intending on setting up on our planet. I never own that. I'll say that's their agenda, but I will never sit here and tell you, you will own nothing and be happy. I don't believe that that's ever going to happen. Now, not in my world. Now, will that happen for people that are in alignment and locked into the frequency of these low vibrational demonic entities and beings? Yeah, that's where the devil plays, in fear and in hatred and in envy and in chaos and in jealousy and in wickedness and in manipulation and deception. So it's not just whether or not you take the Jim Jones juice. That's just a part of it. The other part of it is being in alignment with this frequency and these spaces of consciousness where they get you locked in, whether it's through the Jim Jones juice or through the mask or through, you know, indirectly working for some third party entity that represents this, like most of the Black celebrities, like rappers and athletes, or not rappers, but entertainers that are doing concerts and festivals that have, you know, mandates that are killing people. You know what I mean? So we have to be a lot more careful about how we speak when we talk about these people and their agenda. I said it in one of my videos before, y'all should stop saying CBD19. I don't say it. I mean, I say it if I'm, you know, doing a talk or a presentation, but that word doesn't come up in my day-to-day conversations at all. So like, we should collectively completely stop using that word, stop saying it altogether. That's what consciously creating reality is about. That's what fifth dimensional reality is about. That's what quantum physics and quantum reality is about. What you think and what you feel is what's creating this reality. So when I was saying, going back to these low vibrational beings feeding off of this negative energy, well, these low vibrational beings came to be because humanity was already off course, off the tracks of coming here to create, coming here to learn, coming here to love, coming here to expand. How could you hate nature? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you hate nature? But these people hate nature. How do we know they hate nature? Because they're creating cell phone towers and covering them with fake trees. because they're creating genetically modified food with no seeds, when you could literally put the seed from an orange into the ground and create a tree that over thousands of years will produce hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of oranges. You know what I'm saying? So these people hate nature. They hate the beautiful complexities of humanity. Let's see something. They hate the beautiful complexities of humanity. The whole thing about, and I get into this in my Kingdom Within, the whole thing about trying to create a, and this goes back to natural selection and Darwinism, right? The whole thing about trying to create a perfect human being is, you know, blonde hair, blue eyes, again, going back to the Palladians, imagine that, create this image and likeness of the perfect human being that is so opposite and so different from the original people. They are at war with God. I think Baruti, in Wali Muke Bomani Baruti, in one of his books, he talks about, and he may have even been referencing somebody else, you know, this ongoing war with nature, right? And yes, thank you very much, Ishmael. Thumbs up, please. I always forget to do that. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share. You guys notice I never do that, right? Because when I come online, I just be on. Like, it never fails. Even when I do my videos, like the Kingdom Within, it took me so long because this is very stressful. First of all, this content that is a lot to process, but my editing process, I have so much to say. I have so much that I want to try to make sure that I share with you guys. And then I forget the basics. Like, yes, I have books for sale. Yes, you can work with me one-on-one. You know what I mean? But thank you, my brother, for keeping me on my square. So going back to my point, right? My tolerance for ignorance is at an all-time low, and ignorance on our planet is at an all-time high. That's a problem for a person like me. But I also understand, right, taking a seat back from social media, which I know, especially as this situation continues to get crazier. When the school shooting happened in Texas, I may have said this in a video before. If I did, you know, pardon me. Once I do the videos, everything I say is just in the ethers now. I don't really recollect it, right? Or I'm not going back and thinking about what I said in the videos. I'm on to the next thing. But damn, I just forgot my thought. Visionaries. No, it wasn't visionaries. I was about to say something important about something I've said in a video before. It'll come back to me. This is why I like to take notes so I don't forget what I say. But the visionaries are the people that I want to attract, and the people that I want to work with, and the people that I want to build with, because the future is going to belong to the visionaries. And the more we stay stuck in food shortages, water shortages, the global warming hoax, because it is absolutely 1000% a hoax, the more that we are feeding this low vibrational entity, low vibrational frequency, and the stronger their power is, right? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So social media, this is why I am slowly but surely removing myself from social media, because it's the mindset of the masses right now is very dangerous. The collective consciousness was actually building our culture, building our, or expanding our planet, or lack thereof, right? So when you think about the mindset of the average person, and remember in the other video, I talked about the guy who was sitting in the school shooting. Yes, thank you, David. Shit, let me write that down. I wrote David, school shooting. Yes, thank you. So the situation with the school in Texas, right? So I go online and I had already seen all of the notifications, whatever on my phone. The first thing I see is Steve Kerr at the NBA, playoffs. They had an interview session and he's pissed off, right? And he's banging his hand on the table, and he's talking about how frustrated he is. And I understand, right? What's up, Queen? I see you. Got my admin in the building. I didn't even tell her I was going online. I just came online. So Steve Kerr is all punching his hand and he's all frustrated. And I understand his frustration. We're talking about children being murdered in cold blood, right? Unfortunately, that's happening every day all over the world right now in hospitals and in pediatrician clinics and in clinics all over the world. Children are being murdered. But let me get back to my point. And then Amanda Seals comes on and she's belligerent, angry. And, my mood was cool. I was calm. I had already said I'm not going to be online, all into that. And so I see these two videos back to back, and it just immediately shifted my energy. You know what I'm saying? It immediately put me in a place that I didn't want to be. So the point of sloppy thinking and the point of self-analysis and self-awareness is when you start to feel the energy shift internally, when you start to feel yourself going to a place that you don't want to go, which is what happened to me when I went online. I'm not going there with you, Amanda, Steve Kerr, Black Twitter. I'm not doing that with y'all. Because I understand wherever my thoughts, wherever I am in my mindset and how I'm feeling is what's actually creating my reality, right? So this is why the social media for me is going to be sporadic moving forward. Because if we think that things are crazy right now, and we're not paying attention to what these people have planned, and we don't actually know what's already happening underneath on our watch. All of this is happening on our watch. You know what I'm saying? So history is not going to really be kind to us. When I say us, I'm talking about the collective, but I'm on my square. But I'm saying there's a price to pay for not paying attention. So that whole experience of me seeing those two videos and then logging off because nope, I'm not doing that with you. That was my self-awareness, my inner being stepping outside and analyzing what was going on inside of me. And then my inner being took control and said, turn it off, log off. So I logged off. And this is the point that I'm making about the sloppy thinking aspect, because there's so many things. This is my other phone that I use. This phone, it's not on, but I use this phone to, get all of my Telegram notifications. I don't get any notifications on social media. If you comment on my YouTube channel, if you comment on my Instagram, if you send me a message on Facebook, my phone does not notify me because social media does not summon me. And I'm very careful about that because, at any given moment, 90% of my messages are all love, all positive, all appreciative, and people giving me testimonies about how helpful my work has been. But if I looked on my phone and saw some of the things that I see in my email, just like randomly somebody sending me a message of porn, which I do get from the savages of the world, right? Or the peasants of the world, or, the low vibrational beings that are attracted to my light and don't know how to interact with me without it being based in a sexual nature or based on some low vibrational demonic shit. If I got those type of notifications on my phone, I'd be batshit crazy. So I don't get summoned by social media. When I engage on social media, it's because I go to social media. That's it. So the sloppy thinking aspect, right? And this is so I have a presentation or a video called Fine Tune Your Focus, right? I think I'm going to redo it because I only did this video for my Sovereignty of Self course, but I think I'm going to redo the video and put it up in my group membership channel, but do it, so for everybody, because it was from a female perspective for women. But fine tuning your focus, meaning, because we're moving into a new paradigm shift that's going to be based around being and not doing. And most people are in doing mindset. Hustle and grind is doing mindset. Working hard is doing mindset. And now we see where, oh, this is what I was saying about my phone, right? So when I look at all of these notifications from Telegram, from Wall Street Journal, from Huffington Post, from apparently Dr. Fauci just tested positive for CVD-19 with his lying, wicked, evil, demonic ass. The Federal Reserve just raised the interest rate. Why would these people be raising the interest rate at a time when everything is skyrocketing price-wise? Because they're trying to squeeze you dry. I don't pay attention to anything pertaining to Tariq Nasheed. I know you probably don't know that, but that is not my frequency at all. So no, I haven't paid attention. I am familiar with the Dane Calloway. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? I haven't watched anything of his as of late, but yeah, no, I don't pay attention to anything happening in those worlds or in those spaces of consciousness. Okay, I won't shout you out, much love. So I'm looking at all of this, right? And this is every day. All these notifications are within the last hour. And it's all negative. Many brains show how common drug freezes cell division in the womb, causing birth defects. I mean, it's the psychological manipulation, the psychological abuse and trauma that we have all been under for the last way more than 2.5 years. But Ultra Beauty's Shelley Haas dies at 49. Former teen mom star Lane Fernandez dead at 28. 19-year-old TikToker and model Cooper Noriega has tragically died. Justin Bieber's face paralyzed after Ramsay Hunt diagnosis. Pokemon voice actor Billy Kometz dead at 35 after colon cancer. And the colon cancer is just, like I told you guys, they've weaponized people's sickness. This is what's so genius about it, is that it's not going to look like the Jim Jones juice. It's going to look like the cancer came back in remission. The cancer is in remission. You know what I mean? So that's why I have this phone separately. And when I don't want to deal with the world, I put that phone down or I turn the internet off, right? Because you can go somewhere so easily in your mind without thinking about it. And next thing you know, and this is something that I've really had to be analyzing of myself and observant and aware of since the beginning of this year in particular. Because again, my tolerance for ignorance is at an all-time low. I've been trying to promote and talk about and build on very serious and important subjects for more than 10 years now. To a lot of times I feel like to no avail. And when I feel like to no avail, it takes me somewhere. Because there's a lot of other things that I could have been doing with my time for the last 10 plus years. I know it's been very beneficial, hopefully, for the people that have been following me all of this time. But sometimes my mind goes into a space where I feel like I've been wasting a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm 6 books in, about to be 7 books in. I'm writing a textbook right now, by the way. So, but if I allow my mind to take me there, it'll put me in a dark space. And my mind has taken me there since the beginning of this year. Even when I, like the Kingdom Within, the video that I sat down and shot this morning for 2.5 hours. And I always have a moment when I finish doing content where it's like, this is a waste of time. These people aren't serious. They don't care. I probably have about, 100 people maybe out of the 120,000 followers on my social media platforms that I feel like are really like woke, serious, you know what I mean? Intentional and vibing with me on my channel because it's my content, right? So yeah, I go there sometimes. I went there a couple of weeks ago, like in a major way. I'm not online when I go there. That's the difference between me and a lot of people. I'm not online, exasperating when I'm having a bad day or exasperating when I have a bad moment, because I understand how energy and frequency works. And because I am a beacon of light for a lot of people, if I come online and shine some tainted light, it's gonna have ripple effects. You know what I'm saying? Because light attracts everything. It attracts light, love, happiness, well-being, gratitude, appreciation, but then it also attracts gnats and dirt and peasants and bugs and mosquitoes and moths and mold and fungus. You know what I'm saying? So the closer I am to the light, like the Kabbalion talks about being closer to the center, the closer that I am to the light, meaning in alignment with my higher or my higher self or my inner being, the more powerful my message will be to you guys. I'm in a good space right now. That's why I'm in a flow as I'm talking. But if my light has residual, energy, if I'm feeling some type of way, if the mood is not necessarily where I want or need it to be, I'm not going to come online and talk to you guys, because I'm not trying to exasperate the stress and the fear and the worry and the chaos that a lot of people are operating in. And I know for a fact, you don't even have to tell me. I can feel the energy. I can feel the energy when people send me emails and send me DMs and send me messages. But now I've created a space and content for you to come and support me so that I can support you. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people aren't really looking to edify themselves or to take personal self-accountability. They just want an emotional fix. This is something else that I want to talk about, right? You see these suicide rates are continuously going up. I think that and I read an article yesterday that said that there was a connection between long-term, which I talked about this in the Kingdom Within this morning, long-term CVD-19. There's a connection between long-term CVD-19 and suicide rates. How is that possible? And they just telling y'all things like this. They just saying it and putting out articles and having some half-cocked doctor or some half-cocked so-called specialist or expert tell you things that don't make any sense. I don't need to see the data. I don't need to read, the medical journals to even have to even consider it. I know it's bullshit. Just like in 2022 in March, when they started to do this song and dance, I knew it was bullshit. So I was never susceptible to the games. Don't play with me. I've been on my square for a long time. No. People are going to try to rush to get their shit together when the shit hits the fan. And that's not how this works. If you do yoga, you understand, you can go to the gym for a month and hit the weights hard, you know what I mean? And stay on the Stairmaster and, or whatever you're trying to focus on and have great monumental improvement. I'm talking about not necessarily weight loss, but strength, muscle. In a month's time, you can go leaps and bounds going to the gym and hitting the weights. Yoga? No. It's going to take some time for you to stick that handstand. Some people years, depending on how much you practice. So the concept of leaning into, which is what yoga is really about, leaning into your breathing, leaning into the postures, leaning into being present and feeling and observing and energetically circulating oxygen in your system while you do yoga. It's a whole process, but you can't get it done in a month. I don't care if you practice every day. So, you know, I've talked about spiritual hibernation, mental hibernation. I know I keep saying I'm going to do a video, but I've been putting out a lot of content. I don't know if you guys know, but I have, because I'm going to be doing this for a certain amount of time, and then I'm not, as far as putting public content out. But, you know, spiritual hibernation, it's not really wise to turn up for the summer and then, like, you know, wait until winter to start focusing on your meditation and focusing on your mental and spiritual well-being, because this is a spiritual war. So if you're not spiritually grounded, if there's a shooting in Texas at a school and 19 children are murdered outright, if you are not strong within your internal knowing and your internal foundation, you're going to lose it. If the numbers of murders, not deaths, murders from this Jim Jones use continue to escalate, you know, they have a new quote unquote disease called sudden adult death syndrome, SADS. Have you guys seen this report? Is this like, it's mainstream news and we're all just kind of sitting back. And I know, because I can hear people sometimes when I'm talking, I can hear their spirit saying, well, what are we supposed to do about it? It's one thing to talk about it, but like, what can I do? I don't know what to do. You tell me. Everybody has to come to the table with their own personal perspectives. This is your personal power. I'm writing that down so I don't forget. Your personal power, if you are really internally focused and really internally aware, then your personal power should be your primary focus right now. What does that mean? I don't know. You tell me. What does it mean for you to stand in your personal power, for you to have sovereignty over yourself? Because between the digital lockdowns, between the sudden adult death syndrome, between the 14th and the 15th, today and tomorrow, well, yesterday and tomorrow, they're having the, you know, quote unquote, meetings as to whether or not they should approve the Jim Jones juice for 6-month-old to 5-year-olds, right? It's not even really, it's all a show. It's already decided. But between that, you know, that type of stuff really takes me. I just, especially when I know what's in the shot, when I know what their agenda and their intention is. And then I know that they're putting this in innocent, pure babies, right? The food shortages, the water shortages, the man-made weather, you know, the Yellowstone situation right now, the flooding, the heat wave on the East Coast. You know, there's just so much chaos and manipulation happening around us that if you are not mentally and spiritually and emotionally stable, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to get through this with your faculties intact. And I'm not talking about surviving. I'm still in thrive mode. How do you thrive in the midst of anarchy? Chaos isn't even strong enough. How can you thrive in the middle of anarchy? So don't wait until the devil is at the door. And you know, the Jewish, what's the right word for it? There's a word for it that escapes me right now. You know how in the Bible, how it talks about the mark on your door, Jewish Passover, how it talks about the mark being on the door, and that there was I think it was a blood mark, if I'm not mistaken, on the door. But the mark on the door was basically to let, you know, the soldiers and the powers that be of that time know that this house is covered in the blood of Christ, so to speak. That's not what it says, but that's what it meant. That mark is about your vibration and your frequency. It's not a physical mark on the door, just like the mark of the beast is not a physical mark in your hand. Everybody keeps talking about RFID chips, right? They think that this is about implanting a chip in your hand. And now that I think about it, I think a lot of that, you know, a lot of that interpretation and a lot of that sort of conspiracy theory element about, you know, the chip being implanted right in your hand, and they even created the technology, right? But I think all of that was really a diversion to keep you from understanding that it's not a literal mark in your hand. The mark of the beast is this technology that's going to infiltrate the cells and the infrastructure and the veins of the human body to turn you into something else. And they're already doing it. And blockchain and artificial intelligence are the king of king, lord of lord, so to speak, in terms of the hierarchy of this agenda taking place. So with all of that being said, me now at 43, having been, you know, born and raised in Babylon and growing up in the inner city in Oakland and having to deal with, you know, the trials and tribulations of family and lack thereof, and then having to go out into the world and, you know, trying to find my way, trying to find my place, the school system, the corporate environment, the trials and tribulations of, you know, being self-employed, being a mother, right? Being a what's the word I'm looking for? A hub, an energetic hub where information comes in, where energy is consistently directed and infiltrated or transmuted in different places, right? I'm just now at 43, and we're not even talking about anarchy, the end of the world, et cetera, starting to get the consistent internal awareness and knowing, not understanding, knowing, not belief, knowing. It's taken a long time for me to cultivate that. So I know that my whole life has been leading me up to this moment. That's what my family dynamic was about. That's what the schools that I went to was about. That's what my interests, you know, I have a very strong passion for building and how infrastructures and cities and things work. And I went to school for that. And I was thinking about it the other day, like, yeah, that's why that's part of my divine calling. That's why I know I'm supposed to follow that, because I have a divine calling. It's a perpetual love and passion for that. Right? So somebody said box. I don't know if there's any, well, my homegirl, she's in the chat room. This was another thing I was thinking the other day as I was thinking about that, right? A lot of us are good at multiple things. Most of us are good at multiple things. I'm good at a lot of things. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because most of you guys are too. And we've been placed in this sort of proverbial prison that tells you that you can only go in one lane. So you can be good at art, but you know, you got to pay the bills. So you end up being an engineer. And so you leave this goal and this passion that you have, that you love, because you felt like you had to devote everything to becoming an engineer. But there's an artist in you dying to get out. And maybe the artist is the direction that your inner being and your higher self really wanted to take you into. But the world kept telling you that engineering is where the money is. And the world kept telling you that there's this show, MasterChef is it on Hulu? I've never seen this show before. I just started watching it with Gordon Ramsay, and I really like it. But there's this female that's on the show. She was a lawyer. And from what I gathered, she was a good lawyer, a successful lawyer. And so she left her job to go and be on this show to become a chef. And she was, she didn't make the finale, but she was good, right? And so when she got eliminated, it was, she made it really far into the competition. She ended up getting eliminated. And so, how they do the exit sort of interview where you're talking about, the experience. And she was like, and they asked her, are you going to go back to law? And she was like, I'll never go back to law. She was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to start a business, She was like, but I have 100% found my calling, and I've never been this happy or felt this free in my life before. So imagine if she had, and she was an Asian female, and in Asian families, like certain African cultures, like Indian cultures, are very emphatic about, law versus medical versus, they want you to have, the title of your job or the type of job and business that you have is very important to them. Oh, she was Indian, not Asian. And she said when she told her parents she wanted to be a chef, her mother was like, why would you ever want to be a servant? Which is funny because, it's this classism that happens in indigenous cultures or native cultures, Indians and, certain African cultures, and like this elitist entitlement sort of mentality. But then you go amongst white people, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or, an engineer, and they still treat you like shit, right? I think a lot of those decisions are made trying to prove to white people that you're not what they're projecting on you to be, which is a waste of time, right? But let me get back to my point because I'm all over the place. When you understand your personal power and when you are operating from your inner being and an inner knowing, you are not scared to pursue the things that you are good at, regardless to what's happening in the world. And this is what this time is forcing on all of us. Because I know people, and I have clients that walked away from jobs because they wouldn't take the Jim Jones juice and are flourishing now in ways that they never thought possible. So you have these choices and these decisions in front of you. One choice is complementing pressure. One choice is about denying what you know to be true. One choice is about, I got bills to pay, I got to do what I got to do. And then you have these other choices that are a little bit scary and you don't really know how it's going to happen, but you do know it's something you love. You do know it's something you're good at, right? So how many of us actually have the courage to follow the goal or the dream? Or to walk away from something and completely step out on faith, regardless to what else is happening in the world. How many of us are being led by truth? Because if you submit to the truth of your inner being, your higher self, there's that word, submission. If you submit to the God within, which is what submission is really about, but that's another conversation for another time. If you submit to truth, then there's no way you could stay dedicated to a company or a corporation that's forcing you to put some poison in your body just to get a check. And when I talked about before, I say fear is anti-God, right? And it is. Then that's a play on words. But if fear is anti-God, think about this. You take an orange seed. You plant the orange seed in the ground. You water it, you nurture it, it grows a tree. It grows 1,000 oranges. You take one of those oranges, you put a plot right next to it, You plant that seed, another tree grows, another 1,000 oranges grow. You take one seed out of the 1,000 oranges, you do it, and you can keep repeating this cycle over and over and over and over with no fail. And that's a fact, right? That's the building blocks of humanity, and that's the building blocks of our physical planet. Just like a man releases what, 200 to 300 million semen with one ejaculation, and one sperm out of 300 million might make the trip through the fallopian tubes and get chosen by the woman's body. You do know the woman's body chooses, right? You do know that the woman's fallopian tubes, as the sperm is swimming up through the vessels of her body and reaches the fallopian tube, that the fallopian tubes decide which sperm is actually qualified to meet with the egg, right? That's just a side note. So if fear is anti-God, what is lack-based consciousness? If fear is anti-God, what is lack-based consciousness? If I can take a seed and put it in the ground and grow 1,000 oranges or 1,000 orange trees, which will create 1,000,000 oranges. You don't know about which part, Sharon? Somebody said that's a lot of non-viable sperm. That's a fact. Which part you don't know about, Sharon? Let me clarify for you. You guys can't hear me? Yeah, I guess somebody might be having sound issues, but everything looks good on my end. Is lack-based conscious anti-God? Yeah. God probably wouldn't say it that way, because the all is the all, right? But from this vantage point, us having this conversation, going back to sloppy thinking, because most people are continuously having repetitive, sloppy thoughts. When I work with clients, 90% of what I do is unprogramming all of the negative projections from childhood, all of the negative projections from, dysfunctional relationships, traumatic relationships, and helping people to see themselves through the eyes of God. Because if you see your eyes through yourself through the eyes of the Creator that gave you one seed that grew one tree that ended up being 1,000 trees that ended up producing 1,000,000 oranges, then you understand that there's absolutely no reason for you to be afraid or be living in lack-based consciousness, compromising yourself and your integrity for the sake of money or anything, even being alone. Because I just did a video about a sister, the family ties situation, right? And I went all over the earth with it because I didn't really have a lot of details. She wrote me and thanked me and was very satisfied with, my response. I found out a little bit more in her response, but even the idea of being alone is not really real. And that's one of the reasons why I know my life has shaped and molded me in the way that it has, coming from a space of really being alone. And I know what it means to be alone, not just as a child. Coming from that space where on the outside looking in, it looks and feels like I'm alone. But as I've moved out of lack-based consciousness and into the mind of God, I understand that nothing could be further from the truth. You know what I mean? So the sloppy thinking keeps you locked in lack-based consciousness, which means you are susceptible to the devil or Satan's illegitimate or wicked agenda when you're in that space. This is not about religion. This is not about whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or you know, you don't have a religion, you don't believe in God, you're an atheist. How are you sure the woman chooses the seed? I said the fallopian tubes choose the seed. So there is a climate within the fallopian tubes where if there is a sperm or there's a compound, I can't think of the name of it, that's found within the fallopian tubes and that whole process of making that journey. If the sperm is retarded, if the sperm is weak, if the sperm is, and I'm talking about out of the 300 million sperm that even get to that point, once you get to the fallopian tubes, I think it might be like 20 or 30 that actually make it to that point. Once you get into the fallopian tubes, that environment, right, science, thank you. This should be common knowledge, unfortunately. Maybe if this was common knowledge, we would have a little bit more respect for women. Once those sperm that make that trek get into the fallopian tubes, only 2 to 3 of those sperm actually get to the ovary. Because of the environment that's in the fallopian tubes, if you are a weak or retarded sperm, you won't be able to make the trek. Okay? Let me know if you have any more questions. But this is science and this is fact. This is not, I'm not making any of this up. This is easily verifiable. So the sloppy thinking is steeped in lack-based consciousness, steeped in fear-based consciousness, both of which are anti-God. So when I say we're wired for well-being, and we are, that means that if you're thinking sloppy, the devil has a chance to get in. If you're thinking sloppy or steeped in lack-based consciousness, the possibility for negativity or for people who mean you harm or for people who have intentions of trying to sabotage you greatly expand. And if you are not operating in those frequencies, and if you are in gratitude, and if you are in a peaceful internal awareness and state of mind, then the potential of meeting like minds, the potential for blessings, the potential for miracles substantially increases. Why? Because we're wired for well-being. We're not here to suffer. We're not here to struggle, but you can suffer and struggle all you want to. I'm a man, so I don't know about that. I'm learning too. It's not common knowledge to me. Well, that's why I'm here. Welcome to the party. This is what I do. I'm glad to have you. Learn something new every day, huh? We're wired for well-being. I can prove it in 1,000 different ways. That's the same thing with the fallopian tubes and the sperm. Your life, God, it has set up the woman's anatomy to let the most high quality, the most powerful, the most potentially, great sperm make the track and get to the ovaries. So that's weeding out all of the weak ones. That's weeding out all of the, you know what I'm saying, the potential crack addicts or da 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 da. I'm just saying. Just using that as an example, because we're wired for well-being. I have the pH chart in the Keys to Womanhood and in the Change Your Mind from Lack to Abundance workbooks. If you look at the pH chart, and the pH being a way of testing or analyzing the overall health of your immune system, the overall health of your body. If I eat, I always say Popeye's chicken. I need to use a new example. It's plenty. If I eat McDonald's, there's so much poison out here. I don't know which one to choose. If I eat McDonald's for a month straight, thank you, Chanda. If I eat McDonald's for a month straight, my body is going to deteriorate. I'm going to get acne. I'm going to get fat. I'm going to get overweight. I'm probably going to develop diabetes. My mind and my emotions are definitely going to be out of whack, because your physical body and what you put in your body is what dictates or determines the quality of your thinking, right? So if I eat McDonald's for a month straight, I'm going to feel all of the repercussions of that, because we're wired for well-being. And God wanted you to come here and have an explosive, wonderful, amazing, satisfying, gratifying, healthy, wonderful, beautiful experience. That's what your soul intended on the way here. Yeah, you had some lessons to learn, but you have the 100% right. You have the free will. You have the ability to choose to eat McDonald's every day for a year straight, and nobody will interfere, because that's what free will is. But if you eat alkaline-based food for a month straight, your thinking is going to be clearer. You're going to get downloads and messages from the spiritual realm that help you to make better quality decisions, or to settle on a decision of something you've been struggling with and you didn't know how to figure it out. If you do a 3-day fast or a 1-month fast on raw foods, or whatever the healthiest, cleanest version of health food is for you, maybe only eat meat once a week instead of eating it every day. Maybe 2 days a week instead of every day. Watch the quality of your thoughts. Watch the quality of not only how your physical body feels, but your energetic resonance. You see what I'm saying? So we're wired for well-being. The oxygen system, this is why, the fact that these people have played y'all so tremendously and convinced you and lied to you to make you think that putting that shit on your face is to your benefit. But if you understand how the body works, the whole oxygen process is to continuously clean your bloodstream. So all you got to do is take a breath. Just breathe with me for a second, y'all. Just take some in through the nose and out through the breath. Let's just take a couple of breaths together. You've just improved the quality of your thinking and the way that you feel by taking 3 or 4 breaths just in that moment. Your bloodstream has gone through a miniature, albeit, but a detoxifying process. Your nose has hairs in them, and you have a slim bridge at the top of your nose in order to filter dirt, dust, particles as it goes in through the nose. Once the oxygen goes throughout your body, it cleans all of the debris, all of the dirt, all of the negative toxins, and then you breathe it out of your mouth. You didn't have to buy anything. You didn't have to sign up for a workshop. You didn't have to do anything but breathe, because you're wired for well-being. The universe wants us to succeed. The universe wants us to win. Water is the basis, is so important to life. Water. Guess what? Our planet is 75% water. If that's not a clear indication that God set this whole third dimensional reality up, even though it's chaos, even though it's a school, even though it's difficult, and we make it difficult, we've made it difficult. God didn't do this, we did this. 75% water. And these people actually have us talking about a water shortage. But if you drink water continuously, And your body being majority water too, right? If you drink water continuously, which is one of the easiest things you can do, it's going to immediately improve your health and well-being. There's people who don't drink water and don't eat fruit. That is the most amazing thing to me. It's fascinating. You know, young people, they be on, I've had to fight. My son was here this last week. I had to fight with him about, you know what I'm saying? Being conscientious about how he's eating and how he's moving. He's 19, and I have extra grace for that. You know what I'm saying? Because I want him to be healthy. I don't want to have to enforce anything on him. I want him to want to be at his pinnacle in terms of his health and well-being. But son, all you have to do is have a smoothie in the morning. Even if you're not home with me. So I know you're not cooking. You got your job. You got all your you think you know everything. You think you're the best thing since sliced bread. Okay, son, you are. I love you. Now let's talk. If you did a smoothie in the morning and added all of the nutrients and the minerals and things that your body needs, at least you're giving your cells and your internal anatomy a reminder and a command that we are wired for well-being, and we're making and taking the initiative every day to move in that vein. When you look at the emotional, let me see, I think I have one of them right here. When you look at the emotional chart, see, I didn't even mean to go through all of this, but we're here now, so we're gonna do it. When you look at the emotional chart, is it in this book? Maybe it's not in this book. When you look at the emotional chart and see the higher vibrational emotions, love, passion, hope is a little bit more middle ground. Let me find this here. Let me just slow my roll. Slow down, ZaZa. Where's the damn chart? Okay, I don't even know where to find the stuff in my own books. Okay, fine. I don't know where it's at, but oh, here it is right here. Bam. So when you look at this emotional chart, right, going back to being wired for well-being. So in the upward spiral, you have joy, love, passion, enthusiasm, hopefulness, contentment, freedom, empowered, eagerness, happiness, optimism, belief, positive expectations. These are emotional vibrations that we all have access to on any given moment, right? And then you have the middle ground, which is boredom. And then you have the downward spiral is frustration, pessimism, irritation, doubt, anger, hatred, guilt, powerlessness, insecurity, jealous, rage, worry, and impatience, right? You can choose any of these on any given day. The universe is going to support you whether you're angry or whether you're excited, right? But how do we know where God or the creator wants us to be on this scale? Because when you're up here, your body is operating at its highest capacity. Your brain is operating at its highest capacity. Your emotions are not all over the place. You're not scattered. You're not doing everything and doing nothing at all. You have a stronger vibrational countenance and energetic resonance, and you are attracting things to you that honor and serve your well-being and your best interest. When you're up here, this is where God is. That's why. But when you're down here, this is where all the chaos happens. This is where the abuse happens. This is where physical abusers and pedophiles and rapists and evil and wickedness and self-sabotage and self-pity and all of the negative connotations of humanity happen down here. So where's God on this? God, divine mind, consciousness, source energy, Allah, whatever you're most comfortable with. The Netarus, the Orishas, what? Jehovah, Ra, Amin Ra, wherever you're comfortable, I'm okay. Christ consciousness. Where do you think Christ consciousness is on this scale? It's up here, right? So in this satanic, wicked agenda that's taking place on our planet right here, this is where they're trying to keep you locked at. Because as long as you're down here, you can't play with God down there. It's hard to feel God when you're down here. This is why when I say, when I go on social media and I start to feel my energy shift, or my tolerance for ignorance is at an all-time low, right? But I still, use social media for what it's worth. But I'm not about to be dancing in ignorance with this madness. I'm not, because I don't want to be down here. And certain things that I see taking place on this planet, like children being murdered in cold blood, or Jim Jones juice being put into the arms of children, yeah, that'll take me down here. And this is not where I play. So having the courage and the conviction to do what's in your own personal best interest, regardless to whom or what, that's wiring yourself for well-being. I had talked about this, the suicides frequency. I'm almost done, you guys. I'm not going to talk too much longer. Much love. I appreciate you for the super chat. The suicide rates, right? So there's levels to this. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. When I say that we're wired for well-being, that's the individual consciousness and the collective consciousness, right? So how is it that, considering everything that I just said, that the suicide statistics and the anxiety and the depression and the fear and the trauma and the chaos on our planet is seemingly at an all-time high? Because we've gone away from the higher self. We're playing down here, right? So again, you can have as much chaos as you want. You can have as much stress as you want. You can have as much suffering, as much struggle as you want. And the more that we give into that, the more that we abide by that, the more powerful these negative entities, whether you want to call them, draconians or reptilians or Joe Biden, Donald Trump, they're all the same to me, because they're all keeping you locked here. That's why the conversations about food shortages and about water, and yes, of course, plan, prepare. This is not this is not a game right now. This is very serious. I think a lot of us are not taking this as serious as we need to. Not from a fear-based place, but from a serious, astute, and shrewd place. The suicide rates, the anxiety, the depression, dissatisfaction brings change. Change is on the way, but the change is going to reflect and represent the low vibrational nature initially, which is where we are now, the low vibrational nature that a very large percentage of the human population is experiencing right now. So you want to move into fifth dimensional reality, or you want to elevate into being in alignment with the consciousness and the mind of God. You want to thrive. You want to live well and have happiness and well-being in your life and expand and thrive and all of that. Then you got to go where God is, because God is not playing in anger and resentment and judgment. And I shouldn't say judgment, because judgment is a part of life. Projection is a better word for me. Negative projection. Hatred. That's not where God is. And if God is not there, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be happy and satisfied with your life when you're playing in that frequency. This is a frequency game. So there's all of that, right? How we live, how we think, how we operate. Then you got the cell phone towers, which are emitting a frequency. And as you're going to see when you watch The Kingdom Within, cell phone towers had a very big position and played a role in that original quote unquote outbreak. Cough, cough. In one area of the world. They used a certain technology and a certain strategy in China. They used a certain technology and a certain strategy in New York. They used a certain technology and a certain strategy in Italy. This is a fact. You'll see. So when we talk about fine-tuning your focus, right? When you fine-tune your focus, and sometimes if you can't get over the negative thinking, or if you can't get out of, you're locked in that space of, anger or bitterness or frustration, then don't try to go positive, go neutral. Focus on your breathing. I'm thankful that I am in a calm environment right now. I have a place to lay my head. I know I'm going to be able to eat dinner tonight. Just the most basic, simple, right here, right now in front of you things. Don't try to, go from I hate the world to everything is love and light. That's bullshit. Internally aware, where am I at right now? How am I feeling? How am I thinking? Okay, this is not a good feeling. I don't want to feel like this. Let me get up and take a walk. I'm not trying to fix anything. I'm just trying to set the mood and set the tone right here, right now. Why? Because I know that when I feel like this, I'm not in alignment with my inner being, because I know that my inner being is 100% in alignment with God. That's what the internal chaos is. Chaos is when you have negative thinking, when you're thinking negatively, and then internally you're all in chaos and you're mad at yourself and you're frustrated at the world. That imbalance is because you're looking at yourself through a lens and with criticism that is not in alignment with your higher self or God. So the anxiety and the depression and the inner chaos and inner turmoil is a reminder to you, hey, you're thinking about this differently than the way God is thinking about it. How do you know? Because of how you feel. Well, what makes you think it's because of how I feel? Because you're wired for well-being. Well, how do you know that? Because when you feel negative energy, you run the risk of having a heart attack. People have anxiety attacks and think they're having a heart attack. Yeah, it's a mini heart attack. You are out of alignment in your physical body to such an extreme. And remember, the placebo effect, the nocebo effect, whatever your dominant vibration is in terms of how you think and how you feel, is sending signals to your cellular infrastructure about your health and well-being. So if you say, I hate myself, I hate my life, I don't want to be here anymore, your cells translate that message as, okay, it's a bad day, close the door, let the cancer in, let the diabetes in. She's not in the space of God frequency, God consciousness. She's giving a command that is not in alignment with her health and well-being. So we're going to do whatever she feels. So in the same way that the universe is operating sort of in this neutrality, okay, you're in the frustrated, chaotic frequency now. Okay, well, here's more. Not because God wants you to suffer, but because you have free will. And this is a frequency-based planet. This is a frequency-based reality. The same way your cells are interpreting the frequency the same way the universe is interpreting the frequency, because your cells represent the microcosm of the macrocosm and how the universe is actually operated. So the suicide rates, again, people not the lower self being louder than the higher self, the inner being put on the back burner, like in the Alchemist in the book, where he talks about, you know, when he's Santiago is going through all of these different experiences. And I can't remember if it was the king or the actual alchemist that told him this, but you know, the longer you don't listen to your heart, meaning you have this inner drive, you have goals and desires, you have passions, something you set out you want to do, you feel inspired and invigorated by, but then life gets in the way, or you know, fall in love and then you lose track of your own personal goals, or, you know, your parents wanted you to be an engineer and you wanted to be a chef. So you spend 30 years, you know, doing something that you hate until one day you wake up and realize 30 years are gone, right? The more you move away from your inner being and your true self, your heart just starts to be like, okay, well, she's not listening anymore. We need to find something else to do. Because we've been talking to her for 30 years and telling her and nudging her and showing her when she's cooking how vibrant and wonderful it feels. And when she goes to work, she sits in the car for 30 minutes before she ever even walks in because she hates her boss. The signs are clear. The writing is on the wall. But we ignore and deny our inner being and our higher self because of what this world has projected on us, because of the, you know, the quote unquote roles and responsibilities of third dimensional reality. That's if that's what you accept to be truth. You gotta, you know, have a 9 to 5 and go to college and white picket fence and da 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 da. If you accept that, then the universe is all right. That's what she wants. Let's do it. So people are tired of living in this rudimentary, mundane reality. That's what, you know, and I'm going to pivot from the frequency wars because I believe that they're now sending signals. And I talk about this in part 1 of The Kingdom Within, right? Once they have your DNA imprint, because your DNA has an individual frequency signature. Once they have that individual frequency signature, they can send us a frequency to your brain and give you an instruction that you are not even cognizant of. And if you're one of those people that are operating in this space where there's no power, there's no personal power, your inner being is not going to say, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, 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 no. You're no longer in touch with your heart. You're no longer moving from a heart-based consciousness, and somebody sends a frequency to your brain that you don't even know is possible, let alone exists. I believe that that has a lot to do with the suicide rates. But stepping away from the science a moment and just talking humanity, right? The suicide rates are indicative of people don't want to play this game anymore. Depression is a direct reflection of people don't want to play this game anymore. This life is so unfulfilling for so many people that it is more comfortable and more viable to stay in the bed with your covers over your head all day than to go out and face this sick demonic world. That's not, and so it's not that there's something wrong. I mean, you know, the mental illness thing, right? I think we're redlining, or we're identifying a lot of things as mental illness that are not really mental illness. People are just dissatisfied with this world and they don't want to play this game anymore. They don't want to wake up and hate this, their life and their reality. And their inner being is constantly saying, no, 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 that's not how God is looking at it. That's not how we should be looking about this. And they've pushed the inner being and the inner voice and the heart chakra so far away from how they operate in the world that they're barely even hearing that voice anymore. They're barely even hearing that internal fight, internal love for self. We're going to do whatever we got to do to get out of this space and out of this feeling because life is supposed to be good, because I'm wired for well-being. They're not hearing that anymore. They don't feel that energy and that frequency anymore. So when I say spiritual hibernation in Babylon, you don't start that when the shit hits the fan. That has to be cultivated. That's like fine wine. You got to put fine wine after you do the process of crushing the grapes and all of the physical things. Then you put wine in a barrel and just let it sit and percolate. And the longer that it sits and percolates, untampered with, unhampered, the stronger, more powerful, more fragrant, more viable the wine is. But you don't put a bottle of wine, a bin of wine, you know, the day before, and then the next day you have everybody come over and expect magic. No, it's probably going to taste horrible. It takes time to develop personal power. It takes time to develop willpower, the ability to say no and to go in the other direction when everybody's going this way. How many people actually have the courage? Well, I know, you know, you guys are watching my content. I expect that my audience, I don't like followers, my audience, you know what I mean? You got here for a reason. So Illuminati 2.0 is my, you know, thug life interpretation, my spiritual gangster interpretation of the shrewd, balanced, internally focused, personal power, love-based consciousness that it's gonna take for us to get beyond all of this insanity and this chaos and to survive, but then not only to survive, but to thrive. A divine new world order. We are living in the greatest, most chaotic, most crazy, most transitory, most, you know, there's so many different extremes happening at one time. And it's not just the stuff happening in the news, it's just on a day-to-day basis. People are losing their shit. How do you keep yours in the midst of all of this chaos? You better trim the fat. And when I say trim the fat, I mean, you know, becoming light in your affairs, which I did a whole video about that, guys. What do you mean becoming light in your affairs? How are you eating? What are you putting in your body? Or do you walk with pep in your step? I walk with pep in my step. You know what I'm saying? I walk with purpose. I walk with, you know what I mean? I got somewhere to go, even if I'm just going to the beach. Yeah, it's movement. Kinetic energy is strong over here. I can't stand to see people, and I've been on my son about this, you know, when he was young, like walk with purpose, walk with passion. You know what I'm saying? Head straight back, head up, like walk towards the day. Like, yeah, I'm here to conquer this day. You walk sluggish, if you sit sluggish, with a bent over back and your posture is bad. And if you got bad posture, then that means that your energetic and your mental and spiritual posture is bad. Meeting the day with serious, strong conviction, personal power, and stop listening to people who aren't invigorating your personal power. You're wasting your time. And those people will keep you locked in a frequency too. The conversation about the cutting the family ties, a lot of y'all are scared to be alone. And I understand, I get it. We're here to be connected. You know, but like I said in the first video, hanging on to relationships that are not serving you well will keep you from connecting with your soul tribe. I don't want anybody and anything around me that is not serving my highest and best interest, blood or no blood. You know what I'm saying? So becoming light in your affairs, like I said, when I went on social media and I saw the videos and it made me feel some type of way. Nope, I'm not doing this. can't do this with you guys today. So let me cut my 38,000 followers and my, you know what I'm saying? And anybody who's DM me or anybody who's trying to get in contact with me right now, nope, can't do it, because the world is in chaos and I don't play there. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying cut your family off or just go completely rogue. Remember, personal power, personal accountability, the clarity to make your own decisions and your own choices. If you're indecisive in your life, that means you need to become lighter in your affairs. That means you need to change the way you're eating. That means maybe you need to fast. If you got homegirls that are constantly turning up, you know what I mean, and you want to turn down or turn within, two opposing frequencies can't occupy the same space at the same time. There's going to be an issue eventually. If you're living in a household with a mate that is not equally yoked or that does not understand the time that we're living in and how important being mentally and spiritually and emotionally grounded is in this moment, eventually there's going to be a problem, because two opposing frequencies can't occupy the same space at the same time. Somebody's going to have to change. You're either going to go down or he's going to go up. He's either going to go up or you're either going to go down. Separation of the wheat from the chaff in the Bible. That's what this is talking about. You see Satan going that way, you can identify Satan clearly. Nope, I'm not doing that. But the people in your life are like, no, I'm scared. I just need to do whatever I need to do to make my life simple. Okay, well, I can't go there with you. I'll love you. I'll support you. I'll create a little memorial for you in my house where I can maybe interact with you energetically on a spiritual level, but I'm not going to compromise my personal well-being, because God showed me and told me in 10,000 different ways that I'm wired for well-being. You understand? And then when you make that decision and stick to that decision, that's when your real family will gravitate towards you. And in the meantime, there's 196,940,000 square miles of beautiful, abundant, never-ending beauty and nature and love and power and wonderful, amazing adventures to keep you company in the meantime. Okay? ZaZaAli.com is my website. info@ZaZaAli.com is my email address. This is, as I've told you guys, I do have a personal membership channel, and this is where, as this situation continues to get crazy, I'm going to be putting more and more of my content there to establish a intellectual thought tank and a place where people can come and have their personal power regenerated and invigorated, and continuously trying to raise the bar on our consciousness and awareness and frequency and energy. ZaZaAli.com is my website. Thank you for all you guys for the super chats. Thank you for the Cash App. I appreciate the support. Please purchase my books. Thank you very much. I've written 6, and I'm working on Ancient People, a History and Social Studies textbook right now. I'm very excited about that. So enjoy the rest of your day. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I'll see y'all soon. Peace and love.